here 2 years ago. For the people who weren't, I'm sorry for my name. It's Geerte Udo. And I think my parents never thought I would have any international ambitions by giving me this name. Even for Dutch people, it's quite awkward and hard to pronounce. So if you want to chat with me later on, just say hi. Works very well. I'm the CEO of Amsterdam and Partners. I do work with the company already for more than 13 years. So when I started in this profession of city branding, place marketing, etc., we had a lot of goals. And they were all focused on growth. Growth in more residents, more businesses, more conventions, more talent, more international students, and more visitors. And as you all know, and already heard from Peter and Albert, we know that the world changed, and we still are a city that is growing, despite what we do. But I will tell you within the coming up next 20 minutes how we changed our strategy to stay a livable, a lovable, and a prosperous place. This is our mission statement of our company, Amsterdam and Partners. We work on the livability, the attractiveness, and the prosperity of a sustainable and inclusive Amsterdam area. And we, as Amsterdam Partners, do that by building the reputation and by guiding residents, visitors, and businesses. And we, Amsterdam Partners, are a public-private foundation. 1/3 of the income comes from the city of Amsterdam. We're financed by 32 other municipalities in the surrounding area of Amsterdam that you will never heard of, but you will visit, because we say it's an Amsterdam area, and then you reckon, and we tell you how to get there. We are financed by the province by 900 partners. All the cultural institutions in the bigger Amsterdam area, private partners, big businesses in tourism industry, but also other big companies that have a positive benefit from a better reputation of our beautiful metropolitan area. So what we do? Not so complex. We inform, we inspire, and we engage people. And we do it by storytelling, based on data and insights, and via, of course, online communication, print, very important because we all get lost in the digital world nowadays, and through service points and events. And actually, I think that if it comes to building reputation, guiding your destination, the last sentence is the most important one. It's what we do every day with the people at the office. How do we tell the right story at the right moment to the right person via the right channel? Because destinations are full of stories. And we have a huge amount of target audience. Our target groups are these: residents in the top, businesses, conventions, talent, students, and of course, leisure visitors. And the reason why we have this integrated approach, Albert already talked about it as well, is because these are the people that make a destination. With all the respect to the buildings, the parks, the culture, etc., you feel at home in a city or a destination because the people that are there. And in our case, for more than almost 750 years, we already had people passing by. And some stayed, some were born there, some worked there, some lived there, some visited it. So we have to focus on all these people. The other reason why we focus on all these target groups is these are all the same human beings. Who of you is a resident in a place? Yeah, you're all residents, okay. Who is a visitor? Yes. Who is representing a firm? Yes. Or working for a government? It's not that we're targeting people that have in one function. We have them all. I'm here today because ETAG invited me as a business person. But within 3 hours, maybe I'm a leisure visitor. And maybe I tell my brother, who's an investment banker, that he should come over to Edinburgh because it's such a beautiful and interesting city. So if we invite people to the Amsterdam area for a conference, we know that maybe they come back as a leisure visitor. And we know maybe their child will come over to study. So you should never forget, the destination is the same and the human being is the same. They only can have different functions. And that's why it's so important to have this integrated approach. What we changed in our strategy is that we put the priority to the residents. And the reason why is already explained, I think, many, many times. We also invested, as a city and branding company, in a much better reputation of the Amsterdam area. City Hall invested in making the city more beautiful and well organized. Businesses invented to the city better, and now we're growing actually too fast. And that is just what a lot of cities have happening in Europe. So we said, at the end, why are cities there in one way? It's because there were people decided living together. So we should keep the priority at the residents. That doesn't mean that the tourism sector added so much value to our city and our metropolitan area. It did. Not only by money or jobs, but by culture, by public transport, by a lot of other facilities that make our destination what it is. Nevertheless, like Albert already said, it's the same for platforms and cities, that platforms need cities more than cities need platform. At the end, cities absolutely do need tourism industry. But at the end, the tourism industry do need the cities maybe even more. So we said we have to change, make the shift, so we can still have a welcoming feeling to residents as well. For visitors as well, and for business as well, because we've been an open city and a tolerant city, and we want to welcome everybody that is interested in our city. But we shifted the focus from quantity to quality, not only for visitors, also when it comes to conventions and businesses. Like I said, we work with the partners because we're just one foundation, and we are all shaping the destination. If we do work together or not, we do create the destination of the future together. We work together locally, nationally, and internationally because, of course, we're part of the Dutch brand, and we do work, like Peter already said, at the ECM, European City Marketing Monitor, because all these challenges that we're facing are so much alike. And we use it by the motto, I Amsterdam. That is because we believe that is the brand of our city, that you can be who you want to be, despite if you're a resident or a visitor, as long as you respect each other. And that is a very, very important phrase for us. Also, the last 5 years, when we had a lot of discussion with a lot of organizations about the future of our city and our strategy, we set one basic rule. Keep informing each other, and please respect each other. And we can agree to disagree, but keep talking, because there's so many things that where we really can find each other. It's the press that really wants to highlight where we are not connected anymore. But there are so many things that we do work on together very well. If you look at the needs of visitors, residents, and businesses, you can, of course, find all these common goals. But there's one thing where we made a real shift, and we said, if you focus on inhabitants, this is actually not acceptable in our city anymore. And these are just things that were going on in the city, like beer bikes. We bike a lot, but local people are never on a beer bike. It's always tourists that sit there, are drunk, making a lot of noise, and are on the way when we bike. So there's not one single added value of a beer bike for a local. So we said, actually, you have to look at this whole industry and make sure that everybody who is in there also has something for the needs of the locals. There was just a beautiful hotel opened up. They have a bakery inside, and they have special cocktail evenings for the local neighborhood area. So of course you can be active in the tourism industry, but keep in mind, what is my added value for the residents as well? And that is also why we nowadays have a problem with the red light district. Till 5 years, 6 years ago, you would go there. You had great restaurants over there. And now it's only for tourists. You only have waffle shops. We never understand why, because waffles are real Belgium, and we're not, but it's what the tourists want, and it's what people offer. So that is why we're now having a huge discussion in Amsterdam, how we can make the red light district again a part of our city where we as residents feel at home as well, without saying that we're not welcoming visitors anymore. So you can really work on getting this up so it also becomes relevant again for the residents. What does it mean, priority to the residents? There's another reason why we put the residents first, and that is because if locals don't start using a city in a different way, how can we expect that visitors will? You know, you can guide visitors and spread visitors all to new areas, of course. But do locals do? No. Copenhagen just did a brilliant research, and they found out if you look, what do the residents do? Which neighborhoods do they visit in the weekend? And you do the same research with visitors, it's the same percentage. So if the locals all go to the city center in the weekend for shoppings and restaurants, how can I guide visitors somewhere else? So we said we have to seduce locals to discover their own city better, because it also improves their pride. It also makes sure that they discover each other much more instead of only knowing your own area. So this is a short movie on how we do this. And Southeast, who of you has been in Amsterdam? And who of you has visited Southeast? No. Why not? Because it's not so interesting for you yet. For us as locals, it's very inspiring, because it's a new neighborhood. You do not exactly know where it's going on, but you hear the buzz. But it's not so easy that I jump on my bike and go there and find out by myself. So we've built a festival for locals, by locals, and it's just discover your own neighborhood.
Ik vind het leukste dat er zoveel nieuwe mensen bij ons op bezoek kwamen.
Ik ben bij de brandweer nu. Ik vind het wel leuk. Ja, dat er vette activiteiten zijn en zo.
Just been telling her that normally you would find this place on the outskirts of town. To find it here is extraordinary.
Wij doen mee aan het 24 uur Zuidoost.
Omdat we onze eigen grande finale hier gaan vieren. En dat willen we graag doen met iedereen in Zuidoost.
So this is what we do in different areas of the city. And again, if I go there and I find nice spots, I will tell my brother who doesn't live in the city and say, next time you come over, we will go there. So yes, you know, we think that is the Kickstarter in the long term to broaden up the area that you can use. And it benefits for all these neighborhoods, of course, as well. But also, if you look at the business side, we shifted from quantity to quality. We're not saying every company should come over, every conference should come over. No, we're looking to these companies and these conventions that really add value for the metropolitan area and its locals. So for instance, we have the cardiology conference this year in Amsterdam. Okay, it's good for the hotels, it's great for the convention venue. But what is it in it for the locals besides that? We created together with the Heart Foundation, the Dutch Heart Foundation, event in the park where we tell the Amsterdam residents what they should do or know to better take care of their heart. So we have to find always the extra added value. Of course, money is important and jobs is important, but there should be always an extra added value for the locals. We also made, for instance, this housing platform. Why? Because of the Brexit, the EMEA came over to Amsterdam, so we got a lot of people coming from London to Amsterdam. What happens? The houses prices are rising even much more than was already before. And we are already an expensive city. But we can help these people that are looking for a house, especially when they come from London. You can check here on the site what you want. Do you need an international school? Do you want to go to your work by car, public transport, and some other facts and figures? And if you check the boxes, you can see where you can buy or rent your house. And maybe it's only 30 minutes from your office. In our tiny country, that is most of the times you cross 3 municipalities. Do you care? No, you're looking for a beautiful place where you can live and where you can easily access to to your business. So you have to keep in mind, this is not because we want to take over the whole metropolitan area. It's just to serve our target groups much better with what they are looking for and how we can connect them better. This is our biggest change also in the tourism industry, saying like, okay, we used to say, what can locals do for our visitors? We turn it around and say, okay, what can visitors do for our locals? I already gave you some examples in it. What we do mainly is checking data. And not because data is important, but to get insights. Because there's this myth on spreading tourism, and it does work, but a lot of times not if you do not do it right. It does only if you connect the needs of your visitor with the things you have to offer in the area. And it sounds easily, but it's not easily done. So we collect a lot of data to find out if people are in our city for the first time or for the second or third time. Like I said, you all been to Amsterdam, you didn't visit Southeast. So I shouldn't say to you, next time go to Southeast. No, because you will go there and walk around and see what should I do here. So we have to make sure that we promote to you these neighborhoods that are already effective and interesting to visit for at least 3 or 4 hours, from perspective of culture, restaurants, cafes, etc. And always well connected. For instance, because we know in Amsterdam, 80% of the people come with public transport or planes. So we need to show them these locations that have easy access by public transport. Because research already shown us that people do not dare to transfer in other public transport systems than their own. Because they're just scared that they get lost. We do the same with the metropolitan area. Like I said, it's not because we think we're the biggest and the best. It's just because the city is called Zandvoort aan Zee. And you probably never heard of it. But you probably, who of you has been to Paris? Yes, who of you has been to Versailles? Yeah. How many municipalities did you cross before you got there? You do not know. Do you care? No. It's in Versailles, you have to cross 6 municipalities. But you go there because you know when you're in Paris, it's easy access. There's a reason to visit because it's unique what you find there. And that is what we do with this whole metropolitan area. We do not have this beach in the city of Amsterdam, but you can take the train within 20 minutes, you're there. It's not for first-time visitors. It's not for Chinese people that are in the city for 4 hours. No, this is for people that are in the city for longer than 2.4 days. Because we know from research that if you're longer in the city, you need some fresh air. So data and insight is the most important. Biggest challenge on data is there's way too much data. So we always say, actually, we have to focus on the insights. You know, data doesn't say anything. If I pull the question, is 3 hair, is that a lot or a little? When it's in your hat, it's a little. When it's in your soup, it's a lot. So the data of 3 hair doesn't say me anything. So you always have to look, what is my target? What do I want to reach with all these partners to keep the city livable, lovable, and prosperous, and find the insights to work on that? So for instance, we can track which museum people visit. We know that in the morning people go to a museum, and in the afternoon they do the canal boat. I'm always a bit dazzled by if you look in all these other researchers and say, oh, I want to have a unique experience. Why are you all behaving the same? And if you want to have a unique experience, why is every shopping street in Europe the same? And we all go to Starbucks. So be careful on what people say they're wanting and look into the data, what they're really doing. By these graphs, we can predict if people start at the Van Gogh Museum that they also will go to another museum, we can advise them. Because people, again, are doing a lot in patterns. The other one, of course, is because we have a pressure on the old city center. We're trying to see what's going on in the data. And it's about fast-growing cities. Like I said, more residents, more students, more jobs, more companies, and more visitors. So we found out that one of the issues is in the morning between 8:30 and 9:30. Why? Because we take our bike and go to our office. And then it can be very annoying. if all these guests are just crossing the street without noticing how the traffic works? So we can just inform our visitors. Hi, welcome, be aware. Have a lazy breakfast. Go out after 9 because then we're at the office. So the pressure on public space is sometimes, yes, caused by visitors in some streets at certain moments. It's not that Amsterdam has a problem with over-tourism everywhere, always. We have a lot of neighborhoods that are really opening up. And like I showed with the project of the 24 hours Discover Your City, it also helps the tourism industry because they open up their buildings, their hotels, attractions for locals. Do you know how many Amsterdam people are not going on a canal boat? A lot. If you invite them, say, here's a free ticket, because I'm happy that I can be part of your destination. They love it. But you have to inform and respect each other. This is the last slide, one of the last slides. It's very important, like I said, to guide the people. And it's not easy, telling the right story at the right moment to the right person via the right channel. So we take all these journeys very, very closely and very respectful to see how artificial intelligence and all these other new techniques can help us. So if I want to seduce you to go to this beach, of course I have to invite press and influencers that write beautiful articles, but I also have to make sure that I have all the information right on the website and also repeat this message when you arrive at Schiphol Airport. I have VR goggles in my office, in my service center, so you can have a look if it is really what you're looking for. And if so, I give you an easy map that says what you can do in 4 hours. Again, the internet is brilliant, but the biggest challenge is that we cannot cope all this information. If you Google Amsterdam, you will find million of links. How do you decide which one is the best? Our human brain can only capture 7 to 10 options. That is why TripAdvisor is so successful. So we have to make it very easy for our consumers, for our visitors. Say, hi, here's the map. This is what you can do in 4 hours. This is what you can do in 8 hours. Thank you, good luck. This is why the bus stops. This is why you have to get off. Make it as easy as possible. But we had to make it easy for them to get into the public transport because we have a horrible system in ticketing for the public transport. And we know that it is a dissatisfier, so you can inform people, but if they do not know how to get the ticket, they will go back into the city center. And how do you find the right bus? Looking at numbers, names you don't reckon? No, put a sticker of the beach on the bus. It's a regular line, but because visitors take it much more often, the residents have a much more connection in the bus. So instead of the bus going twice an hour, they go 6 times an hour. So it has a benefit for the residents as well because they have better connection with the city. So again, it works on multiple levels. And then if the weather is okay, you can have a beautiful day at the beach. This is another campaign we run on data. We have, as a lot of other cities, besides that sometimes there's a pressure in public space, also the negative effect on tourism that we have some people that like to have a little drink and maybe a little smoke and another one and another one and another one, and then starting making a lot of noise, cannot find the toilet. You probably all know these people. And they are a real burden for the city as well. So we were discussing, okay, we have to raise the awareness abroad that yes, we're a city of freedom and tolerant and open, etc. But freedom doesn't mean that you can do whatever you want to. Freedom is based on the line of respect for each other. You can be whoever you want to be as long as you respect your neighbor. So the mayor said, can you give us a campaign? We have to raise the awareness. And of course, you have a lot of campaigns saying like, please do not pee in public space. Yes, we all know that it's not allowed. The biggest challenge is how do you influence the brain and the behavior of people that are influenced by alcohol or drugs. So we said back to the brain, and we said, okay, when do we get the attention of these people that actually come to our city with only one goal? These groups do not come to the city to do culture. They just come to have drinks and go to the red light district and have fun. Great. So if I say, this is not allowed, they say, yeah, sure. We have to give them the freedom of choice. So we built a campaign and we said, okay, we're an open and tolerant city, it's your freedom of choice. You can just take a public toilet, or you do it on the street for 140 euros. Better spend it on your beer, we say. But it's up to you, make the chance. But also here we had to look into the data. And I do not want to defend anybody, but it's always guys between 18 and 34 coming from or the Netherlands or England. They always travel in groups. And the good thing about data and the technique nowadays is that you can target them very easily. So this is also in the public transport, but also in the hotels where these people stay. Most of the times they don't go to 5-star hotels, so I don't want to bother the clients that are in a 5-star hotel with this campaign. It's only in the billboards on the street when it's night in the areas where these people walk around, because I do not want to have this campaign all over the city, because there are a lot of people that behave very well. You can also do very easy geotagging. So if you are a guy between 18 and 34 and you walk into the red light district and you open up your Google or your Facebook, you will see our ads. Because you have to keep on sending out the same message. And again, of course, is it less negative effect on this antisocial behavior, as we call it in the city center? No, of course not. It's just the first step. It's awareness, but that's why we're called Amsterdam and Partners. We do this together with the police, with the enforcement, with City Hall, because they have to make policy on what is allowed or not. I can do these campaigns, but if night shops can sell beer till 3 o'clock at night in the red light district, doesn't make it easier. So we really have to work together to make it work. And that is the long term. We try to shift it from passive consumption, because we think that is not adding any value to our community and locals, to joyful contribution. And then we work as well with local communities. This is an initiative from the Untourist Guide, just local people. It's not like the visitors will be here. Can we just seduce them to contribute a little bit more? And it's a small initiative. I don't think that the whole system or the whole industry will change like this, but it helps. They have, for instance, the plastic wheel. If you do a canal trip, fish the plastic out of our waters and you help us as a local to keep the canals clean. And it's fun. A lot of families do it. Why not? They make a game out of it, and the locals really like it. Because they feel that at least they are noticed. And I think that is the most important. If you put residents first, be aware that it's end-end. And they value the industry, and they're really happy with visitors. And sometimes, some place, some spots, there is a negative effect that you can solve, because there's nobody in the industry that likes nuisance. If you do not talk about over-tourism, but shall we try to fight the nuisance? Yes, everybody is my partner again. So our future visit is a sustainable visitor economy, of course, and it's social, economically, and environmental sustainability, not confused with only the green side. So it has to be a more inclusive industry, if it comes to people that work there, but also the people that benefit from the industry. We have to do a much better thing on waste, because the tourism industry is very powerful and it adds a lot, but it creates a lot of waste as well still. We think we should invest much, much more in sustainable mobility. How do we travel around the world? How do we travel in cities? And how can we do that much, much better? And how can we make the consumption more sustainable, and so it doesn't have a negative effect for residents? And I think if we work together on these topics for the future, we do create a livable, a lovable, and a prosperous Amsterdam area. Thank you.